Okay, boys and girls, here is the video that I promised you. So, you're going to have a few multiple choice questions and about three open ended questions. They're really quick. You all know the answers to them. I did attach a picture to the open ended questions so that you can make a connection and explain it in your own words. So, please take your time and make sure that you're answering it to the best of your ability. Here is the video.
Wally Water Molecule is back to teach you all about cloud droplets. You don't remember Wally, you say? Don't worry, I'll introduce you. Like his name implies, Wally Water Molecule is a water molecule, and he can exist as liquid water, solid water, otherwise known as ice, and a gas, or water vapor. He is quite the world traveler and can be found in lakes and oceans, in the air, in clouds, in rain, and even in snow. In fact, you might even see him change from a liquid to a gas through evaporation, or change from a gas to a liquid through condensation. Today you're in for a special treat. Wally is going to become a cloud droplet. A cloud droplet is water vapor that is condensed onto condensation nuclei. When you get a bunch of cloud droplets together, you have a cloud. But what are condensation nuclei? Well, let's start from the beginning. Once upon a time, Wally was hanging out in a beautiful blue lake. But, like all water molecules, Wally wasn't content just sitting around. So as soon as he had enough energy, he evaporated and became water vapor. Meanwhile, some of Wally's fellow water molecules were condensing. You might see some of them as dew on plants, or as water droplets forming on a cold glass on a hot day. Okay, back to Wally. The air can only hold so many of Wally and his buddies before it becomes saturated, which means the air is full of water vapor and can't hold any more. And for every molecule of water that evaporates, one must condense. But what causes the air to become saturated, or full of Wally and his friends? Let's take a look. Number 1, evaporation. If the rate of evaporation has increased, there is more water vapor in the air. Therefore, the air can become saturated. And number 2, the air is cooled. As air is cooled, it can hold less water vapor before it becomes saturated. Technically, it's a little more complicated, but the basic explanation is that more water vapor is found in warm air than in cold air. Okay, so now you know what saturated means and a couple of ways saturation can happen. So let's check back with Wally, who's still bouncing around in the atmosphere. Wally is now in saturated air, so he really wants to condense. But there's nothing to condense on in the atmosphere. Or is there? Uh-oh, it looks like Wally's about to bump into something. Look out! Wally just collided with condensation nuclei, or tiny particles like dust, pollen, ash, or bacteria that are floating in the atmosphere. And when Wally collides with these tiny particles, he's able to condense, turning into liquid water that is suspended in the air, otherwise known as a cloud droplet. So, cloud droplet formation just means water vapor condensed on condensation nuclei. If Wally and all of his friends become cloud droplets, they will collectively become a cloud. I'd like to say Wally and his friends lived happily ever after in that cloud, but all good things must come to an end. Unfortunately for that cloud, it's becoming a bright, sunny day. Wally and his friends are about to disappear, and the cloud is going to dissipate. When the cloud droplet dissipates, it just means the cloud droplets evaporate. But what causes a cloud droplet to evaporate? I'm so glad you asked. Number 1, the cloud's temperature increases. When the temperature of the cloud increases, water evaporates at a faster rate, so Wally is more likely to evaporate. Many things can increase the temperature of the cloud, like the sun or warm air radiating off of the ground. That's why low fog and clouds tend to disappear as it warms up during the day. Number 2, the cloud and the drier air mix together. This drier air causes evaporation to increase, thus causing the droplets to dissipate. You can see where this type of mixing has occurred with the cloud because the outer edges are wispy. Number 3, the air within the cloud descends. When the air descends, it warms. This is due to the adiabatic process, which means as an air parcel, like a cloud, descends, there is greater pressure being exerted on it. This increase in pressure causes the molecules to bump into each other more often, which results in an increase in heat energy, which warms the cloud. This increase in temperature results in evaporation. Back to our story. Today is turning out to be really hot, so the temperature inside of the cloud is increasing. Wally and his friends are starting to get really warm, and oh no, some of Wally's friends are disappearing. And boom, there goes Wally. Enough cloud droplets evaporated that the cloud has dissipated. But don't worry, Wally isn't gone forever. By now you should know that Wally just changes forms a lot. So he's still in the atmosphere, but now he's water vapor again and not liquid water. So, for now, that's the end of this Wally water molecule tale. However, I'm sure you'll see Wally again really soon. Before we go, let's take a moment to review some important parts of our story. Water is continually changing states or forms. In this story, Wally evaporated, condensed, and then evaporated again. When the air can't hold any more water vapor, it is saturated. And for every water molecule that evaporates, one must condense. Water can become saturated in several ways, including evaporation and when air cools. When water vapor condenses in the atmosphere, it does so on tiny particles called condensation nuclei. Liquid water that is condensed on condensation nuclei can form cloud droplets. And when you have enough cloud droplets, you get a cloud. Clouds dissipate when the cloud droplets evaporate, which can happen for several reasons, such as a temperature increase in the cloud mixing with dry air, or the cloud descending. Take a look at that. I think I see Wally and he's formed another cloud droplet. Wait, there's some of his friends. Wow, they're forming a giant cloud. Go, Wally, go!
Okay, boys and girls, so that concludes our video. And I want you to know that at the end of your multiple choice questions and the open-ended questions, I'm going to wrap it up with the scientific method. So we're going to put together what we've been learning and organize it into the scientific method. Next week, I will be demonstrating how we put a real live scientific method activity together ourselves.